Greetings. I'm Jennifer Thorington Springer, Associate Dean of Student Affairs and Professor of English at IUPUI, Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis. I am a counselor for the Division of the Arts and Humanities for the Council on Undergraduate Research and serve as co-chair of CUR's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve as the keynote for your virtual summer research symposium. Many thanks to Dr. Michelle Ferez for the invitation, and congratulations to all of you who were selected to partner with mentors on what I am sure were rich and engaging research projects and experiences. For the next few minutes, I will speak on the topic of transforming the culture of undergraduate research through student empowerment and integrated mentoring models. You're most fortunate to have had this opportunity, and I hope that you will continue to participate in undergraduate research because of its benefits. Many students have a college experience that was not enhanced by high-impact teaching practices where you put theory into practice. This is especially true for those of us who are minoritized and underserved. This includes, but is not limited to, students of color, first generation, veterans, non-traditional students, those with visible and invisible disabilities, and those from low-income backgrounds. While research shows that these student populations are more likely to be successful and graduate if they participate in high-impact practices such as UR, they are the least likely to participate. There are many reasons why there's a gap in the demographics of who participates in UR. Not being aware of the opportunities, lack of access, equity and accessibility issues, lack of resources, the inability to dedicate the time needed to participate due to caring for families or having to work long hours. More importantly, many students don't participate because of how research has been traditionally defined and conceptualized. It typically screams STEM with limited inclusion of the arts and humanities, where many students from underrepresented and underserved backgrounds are likely to find an academic home because it allows them to study topics that are intrinsic to their experiences and their communities. UR needs to be expanded to be more inclusive. It should not be designed to only attract those who are interested in graduate school, for example. It is often marketed this way. Instead, we need to broaden the scope to include community-based projects or those that are relevant to student interests. Some students are not thinking about a future in the academy as a graduate student. Rather, they're thinking about how they might better serve their communities or building skills for a career that is sustainable. I speak on this not only as a faculty member who has mentored students in UR or led a nationally recognized program, the IUPUI RISE program, that focused on engaged learning, but also as one who knows firsthand what it means to be in the dark about these opportunities and their value. I was born and raised in the country of Barbados, which has a predominantly Black population, and migrated to the US at traditional college age. My time as an undergraduate student was directly impacted by my immigrant status. There was the culture shock of being the only person of color in the classroom, my dorm, and other spaces, as well as the challenge of finding community, not to mention being a first-generation student who also worked a part-time job and had work study on campus. All of these factors made for a complicated experience. What helped me to stay focused and be able to persevere to the end was good mentorship and an opportunity to conduct research that I was interested in and that felt valuable to me. Research that helped me to understand who I was within the context of the campus, my local community, and my place in this country. Experiencing imposter syndrome and asking myself, do I really belong here, made it difficult to focus on my academics. My identity and the concerns that surfaced because of my lived experiences sometimes made it difficult to engage my undergraduate experience stress-free. The personal became political quickly. When I expressed the mixed emotions I felt to an instructor who dared to ask how I was adapting to a whole new life, she offered to direct an independent study that I would design. I created a course that focused on Black immigrant literature to address the challenges of Caribbean immigrants and their relationships with their African American brothers and sisters. What an awakening took place as I paired the fiction with historical references, interviews with local community members, newspaper clippings, and so on. I came to a better understanding of why there was a tension between these Black diasporic relatives by taking a look at the different experiences they had post-slavery and colonialism due to differences in their geographic locations, the ways in which they met in the U.S. when Blacks from the South were making their pilgrimage to the North, and people from the Caribbean were heading to the North as well. Though there were some disconnects due to cultural differences, there were also connections forged based on similar experiences and alliances of race. They worked together to challenge racial injustices and to improve their livelihoods. Because of UR, a world of new knowledge unfolded for me, allowing me to better understand my own positionality and engage with my local community. I identified a problem and had to figure out how to address it. Through my findings, my local community was able to dialogue about the rifts in our communities and how we could work together to mend and heal. Is this not UR at its best? The instructor knew nothing about the subject of inquiry, but she knew the tools I needed and saw how important it was to engage me in ways that were meaningful. What afforded me a sense of purpose. At the time, I had no idea that I was doing research, furthermore, course-based research. She didn't fail me by not explaining UR to me as a high-impact practice. Perhaps she thought that I already knew. However, the academic system was failing me as I thought research was done in labs and in STEM fields only. We continue to make this error in our messaging to students and our actions as academicians, mentors, administrators, and grant reviewers, even with the recent scholarship on UR that cautions us and asks that we do better in our approaches to the message we send students. This problem is one that we can correct. We need interventions so that UR is not presented to students as that thing that is reserved for a select talented few or those in a specific discipline. Instead, we need to encourage students to participate in the practice early and often as we more fully support students in engaging in interdisciplinary work, being sure to do all of this with an emphasis on increasing the participation of underrepresented and underserved students. You seem to be doing a great job at the University of Michigan with your programming as you have high participation rates. You currently run 9 different summer research fellowships, STEM-related programs, Women and Gender, the Detroit Community Engaged Research Program, and your statewide Community College Summer Research Fellowship Program. Moreover, 52% of your summer fellows are African American and or Latinx, and the fact that 98% of your community college summer fellows are low-income students is impressive. Good work. Thus, in the remaining time, I want to offer a few thoughts on how we can transform the culture of UR to be more student-centered and inclusive. Students, I strongly believe that you are our change agents, the game changers. You can help us to change the definitions and the approaches we take to undergraduate research. You're already changing how we view and approach undergraduate research through generating your own research ideas. While you're open to opportunities to work with faculty on their ongoing research, you too have innovated topics for projects that expand the scope of UR. You have the power to help us dismantle the hierarchical culture that sees the mentor as all-knowing and the student as the apprentice, one who is simply there to absorb knowledge. You can help us to truly embrace the partnership that a mentoring relationship affords. Partnering means that you have knowledge and skills that you yourself bring to the table. You have fresh and creative thoughts that we as mentors sometimes do not and cannot conceive without you. What we offer is what my instructor offered me several years ago, the tools. We as mentors provide the framework and aid you in the gathering of additional knowledge. However, we too stand to learn from you. You're ready to take risks and to engage in conversations on timely issues that are relevant to your experiences and interests. A perfect example would be what we witnessed recently after the untimely and horrific death of George Floyd. Students of all backgrounds came together to challenge social injustice because it meant something to you. Let's face it, you are our future leaders. You're going to be called on to address the public problems we face, whether they're those that evolve from climate change, food shortages, the global impacts of pandemics, and so on. Your continued participation in research that can lead to critical social change, as well as solving public problems, is important. You can set the tone for what research and activism through partnerships with faculty mentors look like for future participants. But more importantly, you will have the refined skills to address the challenges we face in our respective communities locally, nationally, and globally. Mentors. We must consider the importance of blending various models of mentoring in that there is no one-size-fits-all formula. While I had a mentor who guided my course-based research, I also had other mentors who helped me to navigate the cultural challenges I faced on campus. I also had peer mentors who shared their experiences and knowledge about other resources that were available to me. What would really be intriguing is to see and figure out different ways to alter mentoring and how it currently works. Wouldn't it be great for us to be able to take a look at our relationships and see them evolve, where mentors become more than partners or role models, but they become allies, sponsors, and co-conspirators for students? Call the names of students when they're absent in the room and opportunities arise that they can benefit from. Work with students in ways that go beyond the co-authored publication or the joint presentation at conferences. We must meet individual students where they are, and in order to do this, we need to engage in culturally sensitive mentoring. We need to learn something about their identities as these influence who they are as potential researchers and what they might be interested in when they come to us. We must challenge our implicit biases when working with students and take the necessary steps to unlearn them through workshops and professional development opportunities. For students of color and other underrepresented and underserved students in particular, we as mentors owe it to them to find out what the barriers and challenges are that prevent them from participating in these opportunities and take the necessary steps to create equity and access. We cannot be satisfied with business as usual. A human touch and element are important to building student self-empowerment. We might also consider having conversations with our students before our mentor-mentee relationship begins, or even survey clusters of students to find out what they need. Ask them what is missing as we serve them. And once we understand what is missing, we can then work with students to improve the mentor-mentee relationship. We often assume that we know what students' needs are without consulting them, but we need their input to be effective mentors. Let's learn from them even as they learn from us. Students and mentors, kudos on your summer partnerships. Students, I wish you the best as you continue your research journey. You should be exceedingly proud of your achievements and this summer. Job well done. Mentors, let's continue to engage students in UR and reflect on our experiences with the goal of stepping up our game. Our commitment to students through high-impact learning opportunities enhances their ability to be successful. Let's partner with them by using best mentoring practices and encourage more of our colleagues to join us in expanding and diversifying UR. Thank you all for taking the time to listen. References are listed at the end of the talk. Also, as this is a pre-recording with no opportunity for Q&A, I welcome you to contact me with questions or comments at jtspring@iupui.edu.